conversation is just to ensure that we bring to light what is actually happening at collegiate school, West African Methodist Collegiate School. And it's not only because I attended that school, but it's because it's the right thing to do to talk about these issues, especially when the safety of the students are at risk. You know, because in every project of such magnitude like the one that ZOODLAB is actually implemented in Sierra Leone, I think it's important for we understand, say, for letting go erect a tower inside a school, there's a lot of safety issues and concerns. Yeah. So what I want to do is talk about that. But we all know currently the current political climate in the country anyway. So I don't think we'll be able to get anything, done. But we're going to put it out here so everybody go understand exactly what's in there actually happening at collegiate school right now at this very moment. There's been a lot of conundrums. A lot of letters have been written. The Old Boys Association don't write letters them. They don't get lawyers them on this matter, because it's about the protection of the student them. You cannot erect then kind of data, poll there where they go put stay, and not do like an environmental impact assessment, because again, these polls them can link to cancer and all kinds of stuff. And which we don't can see now is that in a collegiate school, they don't go erect this giant mobile phone, or data poll, for the school day. And we want to understand basically who that give the permission, for the ZOODLAB, when the company will go engage in this activity, who that getting the permission for going to collegiate school and sit and list the land. We want to know if not the church, we want to know if not some of the old boys them, a segment of them, if they are part of this deal, where give the church the permission for go ahead and list this land, because they said and list some of the land when a collegiate school land to ZOODLAB for them to go erect this giant pole, this giant data pole, like for signal, right? Cell phones, internet now, all of this kind of stuff. So I go show now this video because I want to see exactly what I talk about, and then we go come in and talk about this. But
it's not Siladin. Me and my brother, we come meeting now decide to see we can look the latest developments concerning the tower. As you can see, they don't lock their fence German to the collegiate fence where they by ban lane. So I know say if I go yonder now, I did the gates go there. And the tower now in this year I don't erect. And the tower don't erect. So see they erected the tower this year with all the gadgets we did. Huge space, and the classroom then just near Usati maps on the classroom then. You see now the place this way they thick. And right now they reshovel inside it like the concrete. But you go no say work they go on right now. But outside we dey so now we not get no access. We not get no access for goodie, and the school self not get access for goodie except they use the ban lane. And I know say they don't get your security way. It don't be their own property now. But they not go allow you for just go inside it. One of the latest development is asset. Today, the 15th, is at the other edge of the farm place. The 15th of May 2025.
all right, guys. So this is what is happening. And I don't see the tower where they don't go erect in a collegiate school. So the fundamental questions that we are asking, because I know they have the permission of the government somehow, who are the players that allowed ZOODLAB? Yeah, this is ZOODLAB. I look up their LinkedIn. This is their LinkedIn page, ZOODLAB. So, who da na the government will give ZOODLAB the authority for go list this land? Are there people from the church, the Old Boys Association? Are some of them part of these? We are asking this fundamental question because the reason why I'm getting into this is the fact that it's about the safety of we people them. It's about the safety of the school picking them where they go to collegiate school. Because again, like I said, there has to be which we call, environmental impact assessment done So when you look now, this is within the definition of environmental impact assessment that should have been done, before anybody engage in these kinds of activities. So conducting an environmental impact assessment involves a structured process to identify and assess the potential environmental consequence of a proposed project. It typically includes scoping, impact analysis, mitigation measures, public consultation, and reporting, ensuring informed decision making and minimizing environmental harm. This is what should have been done. Environmental impact assessment, because we all know that erecting these towers so close to that proximity to school, it's very matter of fact, it's a hazard to the whole community. I want you guys, because a lot of these guys don't live overseas, they understand exactly what we're talking about. They know the impacts of these. They see them towers they are not just any kind of environment. They see them in a residential area. So, because it's about the safety of the community. Then tower there, they rate a lot of cancer and a lot of people can get affected by them, healthy for the environment. So that is why I get involved in this and for bringing to the attention of the Sierra Leoneans, far and wide, and maybe, again, who are the government players, because then I forget permit for erect this structure, how they get permit. Also, ZOODLABS pull the permit when they get, for let they able for erect this structure. So like I said again, there is ongoing, construction at collegiate school, maybe if you don't claim the life of a young bobo, I think is about 12 or 13 years old. That is another conversation for another day, because there is an ongoing, confusion, within the Old Boys Association, them not listening to each other. This is why I don't mix parenting the SF. I don't mix pan their Old Boy Nonsense Association and all that stuff, because again, the reason why some people have to do these things and embark on these old boys, for go support and do construction and this and that is because we know they hold with governments accountable, first of all, they're supposed to make sure say we schools them to standard. But again, I'm discussing this because it's about the lives and the safety of the peoples that are attending collegiate school and the community at Ban Lane. Because this kind of a tower, I have to go erect them within the residential area. There are things where they talk about zoning. How Sierra Leone, they are not saying the country loose, the level of corruption, there is no structure, there is no proper, systems in place to protect people. Again, like I would say, this kind of a thing for do an environmental impact assessment for determining whether or not a tower like this for go there within a residential area like that, and worst off, a school environment. So these are the things that have been going on. And this is the problem that we have. So the question is, who authorized the construction of this tower? The Old Boys Association, the church, they already provide enough information. People only ask, for letting know exactly who are the people that actually provided and gave the authority to the government or the permitting agency, for going back on this project. Because the thing is this, what's very important for notes now, and I want to share this with you guys because I want to see anything there. I want to know what to talk about. You see, this is a research that was done by PubMed. When they do research, they go school. This is a very good resource, for get any information about health, right? Evidence for a health risk by RF on humans, living around mobile phone based stations, from radio frequency sickness to cancer. So again, we know say these tower them, then they irritate, then they a lot of cancer, then they radiate a lot of cancerous activities. So when you look at this, the objective of this article, what they do for see the effect of radio frequency cancer on them towers there. The objective of this work was to perform a complete review of the existing scientific literature to update the knowledge on the effects of base station antennas on humans. Studies performed in real urban conditions with mobile phone base stations situated close to apartments were selected. Overall results, let me put it on the big screen now. Let us see. So overall results of this review show 3 types of effects by base station antennas on the health of people: radio frequency sickness, cancer, and changes in biochemical parameters. Considering all the studies reviewed globally, N, the sample, equals 38, 73.6%, 28 out of 38 showed effects. So 73.9, now you see there, 17 out of 23 for radio frequency. So the sample size, out of 23, 17 show for radio frequency sickness. So 76.9%, 10 out of 13 for cancer, and 75%, 6 out of 8 for changes in biochemical parameters. So this is kind of effect that these kinds of towers get on the people, on the environment, before they actually thought about erecting this tower in that school. The country, there's no planning, nothing is happening. Everybody just they build on top in company. The capital city is choked and tight. When they're thinking about expansion and decentralization, and then when they go down to schools, they go build and erect these kinds of structures. So again, who's behind all of this? It is ZOODLAB. This is ZOODLAB. ZOODLAB Sierra Leone. About us. Headquartered in Freetown, Sierra Leone, with a satellite office in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. ZOODLABS Group is a comprehensive technology and smart utility infrastructure company. So ZOODLABS, they have an headquarters in Florida. Go check in Florida to see if there's any towers erected in any school community or in any residential area for that matter. I want you guys to go check that. But everything happens in Africa, in Sierra Leone. People are just loose. They do whatever they want to do. They know that ZOODLABS knows that if they would not do such a thing in the United States, right in Florida there, or any parts, anywhere else in the world, ZOODLABS would not do something like this. But they will do it in Sierra Leone because they don't care about the well-being of the citizens. They don't care about the people. So that is why I'm showing you guys this, so you guys would see this and understand exactly what it is. Our commitment to the African continent is driven to bridge the gaps in essential utility delivery experience. This is why we aligned our business model and Africa growth strategy to build solutions that will create a launchpad in building smarter communities. That will create the launchpad in building smarter communities. Is this a smart community? Is erecting a pole of this nature a smart project?
Okay, we as I say, we are just contractors for ZOODLABS, okay? Let's put it in simple terms.
Sure.
Everything has a due process. We have ZOODLABS on behalf of the contractor, we give you contract, okay? We can only stop work, simple. The case is in court. If you have an injunction to stop, we'll stop. This is the simplest way to do it. Waiting for avoid a confrontation. I'm a lawyer. I suppose to know better. Waiting me to understand, as you come here, you tell me this is an injunction. I will put you whatever injunction will stop immediately. But again, we have contractual obligations. Just as we come here, what if we stop the job and our employer is not aware? So we will have expected you guys to contact at least the employer, and then they communicate to us. In the meantime, you can stop. So we have discharged our contractual obligation. But let's face it, as contractors, if we stop the job now, and what if our employer say you should have stopped upon our control? Or what supersedes the contractor or whosoever is a court injunction, regardless of.
Okay, so these are the things that I wanted to point out to you guys, and lots of letters. But before I even do that, let me show you now the hierarchy of the ZOODLABS in Sierra Leone. So now go see exactly who are the people that are in front of the ZOODLABS whole situation. So this is the organizational chart, right, for ZOODLAB. And then you have David A.T. Pakima, who's the co-founder and chief innovation officer. We get Isam Yatim, we're in a COO, chief operating officer, probably, that's what that is. We have Emmanuel, we're in a general counsel, the lawyer. We have Ishmael Bangura, senior finance manager for ZOODLABS. So these are the people in Sierra Leone that are operating ZOODLAB. And ZOODLABS, as an organization that has partners in Florida and the United States, ought to know better that they should not, under no circumstances, be doing something like that. They know the effect where it gets on society. But because Africa, the leaders are just useless, the people in power and positions are just useless. All they care about is the money, which they get immediately. You don't care about the lives of the people in that nation. But these guys ought to know better. The organization say they do everything they could for bring smiles to people, but yet then they go install a tower like a dandy within a residential community that has the propensity to cause cancer, radio frequency sickness, and change people in biochemistry within that community. Damage the school, picking away to go school every day. Picking they get sick, nobody would know how they got sick. But these are the people that are in charge of ZOODLABS in Sierra Leone. So it's nice for us to put it out here so you guys would know and bring lights to this situation and ask for these people to remove that tower from that school. It should not be in a residential area like that. Let them carry and go fend other side and go put her. But this is the problem we have in Africa. No zoning. Sierra Leone is just loose for everybody. Come and do whatever you want to do. The highest bidder. So let's look at this. This is Emmanuel Tondone. He was the general counsel for ZOODLABS group in Sierra Leone. These are the guys that are in charge. Emmanuel Tondone. Tondone sounds very Southeasternish. But again, look at all their names, Pakimas. These guys are just taking advantage because they're in government in a power. So they're using their names, their Southern connection, their Mende connections to construct these kinds of projects. Because they know they're not going to get any, nobody can take them down. Not even myself here doing this. Who is Emmanuel? He's a barrister and solicitor of the High Court of Sierra Leone. He also a Bachelor of Laws, LLB with honors from De Montfort University in Leicester, England. And an LLM with distinction in corporate and commercial law from the University of Dundee, Scotland. You see, these guys, they have all these qualifications. But then they go construct a pole, a tower like this. We get the propensity for cause damage and destruction to the lives of our people, kill we people. But you say, so therefore sue them. The people around Banlin, this is the education that communities need for know. The communities around Banlin for come together, then leaders them, come together and file a lawsuit. It's not going to go anywhere. We know the country is corrupt. But they should sue these guys. This is where they should pay millions of dollars, cripple some of these companies for committing some of these atrocious crimes that they're committing against our environment and our society and against our people. This is what is actually happening. These are the guys that are in charge of the ZOODLAB. These are the guys. This is David Pakima, co-founder and Chief Innovation Officer at ZOODLABS Group. Pakima, again, another Mende man. Again, why would they embark on projects like these? Because they know they're going to get away with it. SLPP is in power. They are Mendes from the Southeast. We can do whatever we want to do and get away with it. That is why Pakima is doing this. They know what they're doing is wrong. Pakima is a consummate business executive with over 12 years experience in driving brands, using high-tech digital business development methodologies, supported by big data and advanced analytics in telecom, software industry, and financial services. He has the opportunity to create, lead, and implement disruptive business models. Oh yes, he's disrupting the community in Banlin, in collegiate school for sure. He's disrupting the community. Business models that have accelerated $1 million revenue growth, client acquisition, and brand positioning using lean and cost-effective approaches, and have interfaced with some of the brilliant minds in the industries. You see, these are the people. These are the people that are committing these crimes against Sierra Leoneans. Why should they construct that pole, that tower, inside collegiate school? Take collegiate land in the name of leasing the land. Who gave them the authority? Who in the church gave them the authority? And like I said again, numerous letters have been written. The Old Boys Association don't write numerous letters, even to the parliament, as illegal as the Speaker of Parliament is. Because they are illegal. Everybody is illegal. To Sengepo Solomon Thomas, Speaker of Parliament, illegal Speaker of Parliament. We don't have the votes for the June 24th, 2023 elections. So the Old Boys Association are wasting their time. These guys would read these letters, they don't even care. That is, even if they read this letter, because they might not even read it. They don't care. Complaints about the erection of, mobile towers emitting radiation in public school grounds. Again, letter to the Speaker of Parliament. Dear Honorable Thomas. Dear Honorable Thomas. What's the honorable about her? They're not going to do anything. Singapore Thomas is not going to do anything. Singapore Thomas is not going to do anything about this tower. This letter on I write now, waste of time, but it's okay. All right, let me read the letter. I write for and on behalf of an Old Boys Association, Wankoba, USA, and an Old Boys Organization, 1BC Bodies, class of 70s and 80s, to officially make a complaint to erect mobile towers with health and safety implications on public school grounds, and specifically in the West African Methodist Collegiate School ground as per an agreement between the West African Methodist Church Connection and ZOODLABS Group. So the church, the West African, Methodist Church, that then give ZOODLABS the authority for embark on this mission, for go build this. How much was the bribe? How much did they pay to these people within the church? Who are some of the old boys then we participate, we engage with the church for them in the name of leasing the land to ZOODLABS for go erect this tower where it cause cancer? We go for kill Boku people within the Banlin community that down that area there. Who are the people within the church? The board of directors, the deacons. Who are these people that are responsible for the deaths of hundreds of Sierra Leoneans in the next few years now? From cancer, from radio frequency sickness, from changing their biochemistry and all of that stuff. Who are the people in the church who are responsible? But let's see. Evidence studies of health ramifications from exposure to radiation, when the same research I just showed now, from the basis of cell phone or communication towers. Attachment A. The WAM bodies, the WAMC bodies, class of 70s and 80s, an old boys association and a registered non-for-profit organization, WAM Collegiate Old Boys Association, USA, with vested interest in the school's development and with a history of various contributions, developments, maintenance and repairs to the infrastructure of the school, vehemently opposed to having such a structure on any school campus simply because scientific studies by renowned institutions, as indicated in attachment A, have shown that radiation emission at the base of these towers has a significant probability, 76.9%, to cause cancer and other terminal health problems to people exposed in the surrounding area. Well, now you see what I talk now? Now, an old boy visited the school in February 2025 and reported construction of a mobile tower on the school campus. A meeting of leaders for the school old boys associations and organization from across the world, Wachovia Global, convened on February 16, 2025 to discuss this surprising construction project. 3. The meeting concluded with an action plan for the old boys representative in the school board to meet with the chairman, board of governors of the school. The chairman of the board deferred all inquiry of the project to the West African Methodist Church. On February 27, 2025, the old boys president and other old boys, including an old boys organization called WAMC Buddies, class of 70s and 80s, met with the WAM Collegiate Connection to express health concerns, radiation that causes cancer and other diseases that emanate from radiation emission at the base of mobile towers. The connection dismissed our concerns and instead reprimanded the old boys not to question the decision action by the church and stated that old boys have no rights to school affairs, but were privileged to have gained education from the church school. Following this dismissal of our health concerns, the organization, WAMC Buddies, sought legal consultation to guide on how to resolve the issue. On March 3rd, 2025, another meeting by Wachovia Global was convened to discuss the outcome of the meeting with the church connection and the dismissal of the health concerns and the church's proclamation of being the sole proprietor of the school and the non-status of old boys in school affairs. Division in the next course of action by the old boys emerged from this meeting. One faction maintained the stand by the church, by the church's position as the sole proprietor, and therefore it can do as it desired. The other faction maintained that old boys are stakeholders and that the church cannot be a sole proprietor of the school that was built by the British and Sierra Leone governments and on a public crown land in 1961. In addition, the school has ever since been subsidized by the Sierra Leone government and not by the church. Number 7. Following legal consultation, a complaint was submitted to EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, Sierra Leone, on March 6th, attachment B, for information on any environmental impact assessment, which of course I was talking about, presented and approved for this tower construction project. Now, a conference call with EPA was held on March 10th, 2025, EPA confirmed there were no EIA studies, environmental impact assessment studies, in file for this project, but promised to reply to the complaint. Number 9, EPA replied to the complaint on March 17, 2025, attachment B, indicating that an investigation will be conducted. A protest by old boys led by the WAMC bodies and covered by journalists was held on March 17, 2025, attachment C, on the school ground with posters against the project. A lawyer, Mr. Ahmed Sise, the video that I showed you guys, for the construction contractor, Makeza Group, so Makeza Group are the ones who constructed this tower, I guess they have the contract from ZOODLABS, categorically stated the project will proceed unless an injunction to stop work is issued by a court. An old boy from the faction supporting the church's action revealed that the plan to erect this communication tower was initiated in the second quarter of 2024. Meanwhile, the overwhelming majority of old boys only gets to know about the project in February 2025, after a contract has been secretly signed by school authorities, administrator, and illegally leasing a public school property, public land, to a private business. This old boy, Reverend Samuel Babatunde Thomas, then threatened to get Mr. Rogna Bangura, leader of the protest, arrested anytime he stepped foot in Freetown for protesting against the project. So now see, this is the lawlessness that we're talking about. So how can you threaten somebody? This is what SLPP has used since 2018 to now, threatening people not to come to Sierra Leone. If they do, they'll be arrested because they are standing up or speaking up or representing something that is good for society. This is the problem that we have. So this is what is actually happening. So let's go back to this. So the old boy, Reverend Samuel Babatunde Thomas, una na family, and the Creole people away family to Reverend Babatunde Samuel Babatunde, Thomas. Una see what the guy they do? Una see how the guys they condone illegality. Okay, now they threaten this man, Mr. Bangura, for say if he come to Sierra Leone, go arrest her. You see? Okay, number 12. A third meeting of associations, organizations, leaders on Wankoba Global was convened on March 31st, 2025 to further discuss a way forward. The Wankoba Sierra Leone's president offered to again meet with the school board of governors to again present health concerns and to request copies of the contract and lease agreement, environmental impact assessment report, and any ordinance permits to construct such a high structure on a public school campus and in a populated area. The Wankoba Sierra Leone's president met the school board on April 8th, 2025 to present the old boys' request for information on the project contract. The board again dismissed all requests to see contract documents that would elucidate or ascertain the authority of the contract signatories and if proper procedures were taken for the approval of such project as on a public school property. Instead, the school board offered to arrange a meeting with ZOODLABS Group on a future date to discuss our concerns. Meanwhile, construction of the tower continues on the school property. The church connection claims to be the sole proprietor of the WAM Collegiate School and with sole autonomy over school affairs are troubling. The school history shows that the school was built by the British and Sierra Leone government in 1961, and the school has since been subsidized by the Sierra Leone government to function and operate. Furthermore, we have found no records of the church subsidizing or funding any development, repairs, or maintenance at the school from the church coffers for the past 64 years, or since the school was built at this Wilkinson Road location. We have seen this purported authority by the church only in engaging private businesses to do non-educational businesses that are destroying the property, fabric, and environment of this educational institution in recent years. Although the old boys of the school have been dismissed by the church connection to have no right to question or question any action or decision by the church, we have been the only other stakeholders besides the government supporting and constructing in various ways to revive and to rebrand the school's image and standard. Here are examples. So these are some of the examples that the whole boys have done, for collegiate school. New roof construction by Wankoba, USA, of the main building to repair massive roof leaks in 2017 to protect our pupils. B. Classroom tables and chairs donated to the school by former president, the late Brigadier J.S. Momoh. 100 classroom tables and chairs presented to the school by Wankoba, USA after the Civil War. The school chapel roof replacement was done by Wankoba, USA and the WAMC bodies in 2019 to repair massive roof leaks. The school main entrance gate was installed by Wankoba, USA in 2021. Repainting of school building and chapel was done in 2021 by Wankoba, USA in Sierra Leone. Concrete pavement of forecourt was done in 2020 by Wankoba, SL, with help from old boys around the world. Classrooms were repainted by another old boys group called Friend of Collegiate in 2021. So this is everything, right? So all of this, you guys can pause the video and read, the rest of this letter, so you guys will see it. But this is what is actually happening. Again, my biggest concern is, the effect on radiation. The cancer, we don't show now, so statistically, it don't prove for sure, say, then tower they cause cancer. They cause cancer. And therefore, we for ask for ZOODLAB to remove that tower from that community. They should remove them from that community. We should ask. There are numerous studies that don't show the dangers of, having these towers. And why would they construct this tower in that area? Only God knows. So I wanted to share this with you guys. Let everybody understand. These people have written tons and tons of letters, the old boys. They've written tons and tons of letters. Women can forget access to that particular letter there. This other letter, was to the minister of the illegal minister of communication, minister of communication. Because understand I get the minister of information and I get minister of communication. This is there. They want to see on big screen here. The rights to Aja Salima Tuba, Minister of Communication, 8th floor. Me not even know they get Minister of Communication. They want to see the bloated cabinet. But they wrote this letter to them. And then this was the letter to Mr. Jiwo Abdullahi, Minister of Environmental Protection. Jiwo Abdullahi, complaints about the erection of mobile towers in public school grounds. So they wrote this letter also from the Old Boys Association of Collegiate School to these people. They wrote this letter. They also wrote this letter to Executive Chairman, Environmental Protection Agency, Dr. Abubakar Masakoy. Instead, get a copy of the letter from the Old Boys Association of West African Methodist Collegiate School protesting the erection of this tower. Then, of course, to the Minister of Basic Education, the illegal Minister of Basic and Senior Education, Mr. Conrad Saki. They wrote the same letter to him. You would think after all of these letters, these people would have stopped this project and take down this tower. So the education gets up, Ministry of Lands, they have a copy of this letter. Turad Senesi have a copy of this letter from the Old Boys Association of West African Methodist Collegiate School about this tower that was constructed on the grounds. So all of these people have a copy of this letter. The Ministry of Health as well. You would think people like Austin Demby, work na NIH, where a lot of these publications and research that have been done for cancer, Minister of Health would know better to say they should take down this tower. It work na NIH. It knows the impact of these towers in residential areas. That is why in America you would not find these kinds of towers in residential areas. It's always away from people. You know, go see their cell phone tower there inside residential area. No, you would not find them there. These are the things that are happening. But your president, the illegal president, Marabio, is traveling every other day. Every other day they travel across the world, not even paying attention to these things. Austin Demby, you would think as Minister of Health would know. So these guys have written all of these letters to these people. They don't write all the letters there to them people there. For complaint about what is actually happening. And no action has been taken. The tower is still being constructed as I'm speaking to you. Cell towers have wireless antennas and emit radio frequency, non-ionizing radiation. When these antennas are close to our homes and schools, our daily exposure to radio frequency radiation is increased. Radio frequency radiation is considered a new form of environmental. With ZOODLABS having that tower, it's called, around in collegiate school and around Banlin. Now pollution, environmental pollution. Effects from radio frequency documented in scientific research include increased cancer risk, cellular stress, headaches, sleep issues, genetic damage, changes to the reproductive system. Look at all of the effects of this kind of project. Sleep issues, genetic damages, changes to the reproductive system, memory deficits and impact to the nervous system. Ebo, all of these things happening. I'm giving you guys everything that you need to know to fight back on this. These are the effects of the tower they are on schools. This is the effect. Now continue for read now. Scientists recommend children's exposure to this type of radiation be reduced. Hundreds of scientists are urging that our exposure to cell towers, cell phones, and other wireless radiation emissions be reduced. These scientists have written letters to schools and lawmakers urging that children and the public be protected. They have joined numerous scientific appeals to governments and institutions calling for action to strengthen, safety limits. And ZOODLAB is an organization that is registered, has an office in Florida. And I cannot believe that ZOODLAB is engaging in activities like this. Connecting millions of smiles to dreams, aspirations, and life's precious moments. You are killing families, ZOODLABs. You're destroying the lives of our kids. This is ZOODLAB. This is the organization that is destroying Sierra Leone. This is their LinkedIn profile. I think a multi-million-dollar lawsuit should be filed against ZOODLABS in the United States. That is what the Old Boys Association of West African Methodist Collegiate School should do. File a lawsuit against them. Present all of these evidences that I've given you. It is out here. It's not secret. The effects. Published peer-reviewed science has linked cell tower radiation to harmful effects. All of these effects are here. They've been studying the effect. And yet these guys would not listen, even when people are telling them exactly what it is. So this is all you need to know, guys. This is it right here. The West African Methodist Collegiate Old Boys Association, some of them are supporting the church because the church is part of the corruption. The church actually sold land to ZOODLABS, the West African Methodist Church, and then you have the Reverend Thomas threatening the chairman of the West African Methodist Collegiate Old Boys Association in the US that when he goes to Sierra Leone, he'll be arrested because they are protesting against the fact that they should not erect such a structure or tower in a residential community of that stature because of the effects, the harmful effects that radiation has on people. This is the fact, guys. This is the fact. I think it's important that we point these things out. Newspapers have written about this. You guys have seen the publications from newspapers. They've written about it. You guys saw this one from Concord Times? Let me see. Yeah, Concord Times. This was March 19th, 2025. You see that, right? They protested that whole thing. Collegiate old boys protest construction of mobile phone tower. And then you have this guy threatening the Old Boys Association, president in the US, that if he goes to Sierra Leone, he's going to be, arrested. Just because he wants to protect the people of Sierra Leone. When multiple studies have showed, right here, have showed the effect of these cell towers on people's lives. Cancers. We healthcare system is rubbish. We have no proper healthcare system. People get for the suffer in that community today. It's right here. The effect. Lack of sleep. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. This is the effect. Effects from RF documented in scientific research include increased cancer risk, cellular stress, headaches, sleeping issues, genetic damage. This is going to damage kids unborn, yet unborn, changes to the reproductive system, memory deficits, and impacts to the nervous system. All of these people are going to be killed by ZOODLAB. Therefore, ZOODLAB, you would have your day in court in the United States of America because your company has an affiliate in the United States now. It's time for us to teach you guys some lessons. You cannot continue to treat Africa like a dumping ground whilst you don't do the same things in these parts of the world that we find ourselves. But you can go to Africa and do whatever you want to do. You guys don't care about the well-being of the people.